and you just the right one would be chasing someone, while the left one you sort of like I have to send it round the other way and come back, so you pincer them.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was quite oh, wow. Yeah, so I don't know whether that's having to coordinate front and back bases and stuff. Help me on that front as well.
Yeah. That's
Cool.
some Sun Tzu stuff right there. Yeah.
I had a question for you. I was sanctuary related there.
Oh my god! That's amazing. Hey everyone. So you're the team that's developing Bar. Could you each go around and present yourself?
Yeah, hi, welcome. My name's Behareth, and I've been developing Bar for over a decade now, and I'm mostly responsible for pretty much graphics.
Hello, I'm Floris. I'm about 8 years into bar development now, and I do all everything really. Yeah.
Yeah,
A Neverman. All right.
he's the oil in the machine. I'm Icequick or Martin, however you want to call me. I've joined the team since 2018 and been trying to increase the bar graphically, visually, and how it all interacts, and well, making it pop. Let's keep it at that for now.
And you're the pun man of the team.
I can be pun, yeah.
All right.
Our resident pundit on user experience.
Yeah.
I'm Tarnished Knight. I work in the Spring engine, trying to raise the bar of performance in there. I've been with the team about a year, and I'm also involved with the casting of tournaments that we run. So yeah, it's pretty good.
And I'm Tygan. I refuse to use puns because I do the back-end server stuff, and there's no place for those there. No, I just do the back-end server stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, cool. So yeah, I'm Tatsu, but no, enough about me. So yeah, I want to know all about bars. So I don't know how you guys want to, take turns taking questions and everything, but could you guys tell me about the bar project as a whole? Maybe the incept behind the idea. What drove you guys?
I'll start off, and I'm pretty confident in saying that a lot of us were inspired by Chris Taylor's Total Annihilation. And when a lot of us started off in the Spring engine, and the Spring engine allowed us to create something that far surpasses the technical limitations that were present in Total Annihilation. And around a decade ago, the motivation started to, well, let's make a highly polished version of this, something that can stand on its own and doesn't have to rely on any external models, any external graphics, and just so that it can be on its own and be a complete game.
Could you guys give me maybe a bit of background about yourselves? What you guys perhaps do on the day-to-day, or more on like what brings you to bar, I guess?
What's your interest in, and why did you join the team?
Bridge it to bar.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I just wanted to be a part of a community in my spare time, part of the Quake World community back then. I didn't like the fast-paced aggression of first-person shooter anymore, so I just wanted to find something more relaxing. All the units have like momentum, and you can build up your base slow, but then it quickly devolves into madness again. But you have a little time to react a little bit.
Yeah, the pace of the game at the start is more relaxing.
Yeah.
Hey, did any of you get into development via modding or anything like that? No.
Yes, I did actually.
Oh yeah, Tarnished did.
Yeah, yeah, I've got a bit of a history in that respect. That back when I was actually at secondary school, I picked up programming through Quake. Actually, ties to Floris. So while he was hating Quake, I was absolutely loving it. and it inspired me to. I wanted to do some mods for it, and back in those days, internet connections were through modems that made lots of beeping noises, and there wasn't the same resources to get into programming as there was. And I remember that I had this really long text file that I think was written by John Carmack for his own engineers of this is Quake C and how to use it. And so it's like little Tarnished Knight here looking at that, trying to make sense of what's an integer. Or, you know, that kind of thing. Is like using all these concepts that I hadn't really been exposed to through school, and I'm like trying to then start making mods. And there was this thankfully there was this tool called Quark, which is the Quake Army knife, that allows you to write small snippets and replace bits of existing the Quake pack, so that you don't have to do like a single function or something. And then it just the interest just expanded. And before I, in the summer holiday off, I'd ended up starting my own bot project for Quake,
so
which
you were making
later
AI adversaries to fight against, or to
yeah,
give to your friends to try to fight against.
No one wanted to play against me because I was. I'd say pretty good, but then again, I wasn't exactly tested at any serious level. So it was just, between friends, and obviously I took it a bit more seriously than they did. So I had to write some bots to give me a bit more of a challenge. But it was more from the real interest of how do they work for me. And then that project got moved over to Hexen 2 because I noticed there weren't many bots for Hexen 2. In fact, there probably were none when I started. I think there was one other. So there's now 2 bots for Hexen 2. So mine is the Apocalypse bot for Hexen 2, which is available if you hunt around the internet somewhere for Hexen 2 mods. I think it's still out there somewhere. But many years later, in a job with the computer industry, but not necessarily gaming, I later try to come back towards gaming industry. I had a stint for about a year as an indie dev. I picked up the Unreal Engine and I just saw the assets on the marketplace and went, these are actually fantastic. These are really good quality. With a bit of modding on those assets, if I hired an artist or something, I could turn those into something where with my programming skills I could make a game, and the game I was really addicted to at the time and wanted more of but couldn't get more of was Dark Souls, and that turned out to be a really, really big project. So after about a year working on that, I realized that I was probably biting off more than a sole dev could achieve. But I've sort of got a 10-minute video out there of where I got to with it. It culminated to a boss fight at the end of a level and stuff, but it was really, really good fun. That was, and then after that,
in C or
I program primarily in C++ for the Unreal Engine. Most of my career, 20 years of development's been mostly C and C++.
Wow.
So I've worked on software that has, it's a bit, involves maps and things updating it in real time. So it kind of felt a little bit like being in the gaming industry, but not quite. Very large scale enterprise applications. But yeah, it's that Unreal with C++ was that project. And then after that, I got involved with Ashes of the Singularity. So during COVID, I'd kind of fallen out a bit with RTS games over the years, and due to COVID, Ashes of Singularity sort of came my way, and I tried it out, and oh wow, and got me back into RTS games again. And I got involved in the Discord community, and before I knew it, I became a volunteer tester for Stardock. They were doing a major update to Ashes of Singularity. It was a complete balance rework, and there was a small team of volunteer testers helping with that. And somehow in the process of that, I ended up rewriting their AI for them, or at least the moddable parts of the AI. It wasn't like the AI engine, but all the moddable parts where you could configure the decision making and all that. I had to strip it all down and build it all back up again, because the balance changes made the AI really struggle to perform. I think I did a good job with that, because before the patch came out, people were complaining that the strongest AI wasn't strong enough. They wanted something stronger. After the patch came out with my AI, didn't hear another complaint about the AI's difficulty.
Awesome. Damn, that says a lot, man. Oh man. So yeah. So basically, you got like a pretty good experience in the gaming world, I'd say, with that stint over at Stardock. Damn.
It wasn't like I got really, it was like probably testing with them for about 6 months or something like that. So it was really, really good. It's really satisfying that some of my work's actually in a product there in Steam, and it's like really, really awesome in that respect. And then after having a taste of that, I decided I want more of this. Not much was happening with Ashes at the time, so I was looking at other projects I could contribute to. I had it in my mind I was going to do an AI project, and the one I eventually settled on was Bar, and to think I was going to come in and do an AI for Bar, but one thing led to another, and I saw that the engine had potential for performance improvements. So I ended up just getting into doing the engine work and becoming primarily involved with the simulation and that, where I multi-threaded the pathfinding and that, and a few other bug fixes and things. We've got more planned that we want to bring in as well. But yeah, maybe one day I'll come back and write that AI.
Priorities.
I think it's for us all. It's like the road. The road is the project. How we get there, we will see. But for me and for Bar, we don't really have the luxury of setting goals so much. We have to just wait for people to attached to us, like Typhoon did, like for the server. In the beginning, we really had to have like those eyelids on. I don't know how to say it in English.
Blinkers.
Blinkers. Yeah. And just hope for the best and hope that people will notice us and that they will see the value. And Martin Icequick just had the production value right, and that attracted like Typhoon and Tarnished Knight. Even Barrett came back from his slumber, basically.
Priorities. I'm still curious. I want to hear about some other of you guys, like your backgrounds, your pasts. What led you to this Bar road?
Okay, I will try to keep it short. Well, I have it here, but this is where it started. Really, for me. Of course, I played Dune 2 and the Command & Conquer series. But Annihilation was the one that really made me very interested and dedicated in RTS games. And skip forward 10 years with always a dream in my mind of having an own, making an own game, a real big one. And during my study, my college, I believe you call it, there was like a big project in the end, which I happily could dedicate fully to mapping and UI interface design back in 2007, 2006 maybe. That was for the Spring engine. That was when I fell in love as well. It may have looked like crap back then, but it had some magic in it. And I'm not sure if it's the main TA core or what the Swedish Yankspankers did with the engine, and now I'm talking 10 years, another 10 years later, 2018. I revisited because real life happened, and I'm in web development and design in general. And I got back and I met Flores, and we hit on from the very first day. And it was like a moment when I thought, this really needs to happen. So that's in a very quick nutshell when I thought.
Just so I get it right, it started in a computer science class. You had an interviewer project that
Yeah. Well, that's it's kind of. I joined the. I discovered TA Spring when I was in like science class and had to do a half a year big project, which I could dedicate to map design and interface design for TA Spring. So that was when my first real work kind of relationship started, and yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
So back in the before.
Back.
I've always had an idea of wanting to make games. Had very little idea of how I was going to do it, and then when I was in secondary school, I picked up programming, a bit of Visual Basic and Real Basic. Went to university, did a bit of PHP and Python, and at the same time, I ran a turn-based strategy game. My experience with games had already been like the Blizzard RTSs in particular, but obviously TA had always been a really good one as well. Leaving university, I took up software development as a full-time profession, and the game development sort of fell by the wayside. And then more recently, I was like, I want to make my own game, and I found Bar at the same time. I realised it's a really welcoming community, a really friendly place, and a well-supported place. And it was also a professional place. I was like, this is not what I was expecting given an open source project. There's a lot of polish involved. And my day job is using Erlang and Elixir to make middleware servers. And it turns out Bar needed a middleware server, so problem solved. I stopped coming up with ideas for making my own game, and I got involved in this, and it's been fantastic.
Do you want to go Beharith as well?
Yeah, I'm a university lecturer, and I started off with Spring just making maps, and I just made maps for, I don't even know, maybe 4 or 5 years before I realized that this has to go further, because now the maps are starting to look better than the models, and there's this great disparity between what legacy content looked like and how it's and how it needs to be presented better. And then that's where I really started off on learning how to model stuff, learning how to texture stuff, learning how to animate them, and I still keep learning that every single day. Like just last year, we reanimated every single walk animation in the game, and we were able to really increase the quality on that, but just with newer tools as they evolved.
One thing that you guys kind of like opened as a subject that I was curious about is the open source world. Obviously, I'm very exposed to it already, but I want to hear your perspectives on it.
I was just giving a few moments for other people to come forward before.
We know you want to say something. Go on.
Yeah, I've always wanted to say something, don't I?
Particularly, this is a subject that you are experienced on as well.
Yes, I am quite. Well, I say I've got experience in this part because I work in big organisation, and being compliant with open source licenses is a very big part of that. We benefit greatly from open source software and want to make sure that we are compliant with all the needs, and all the challenges of making sure that source code is available to those who receive the products, and libraries and so on and so forth. So from a bar perspective, the Spring engine is GPL, so the GNU Public license, and through there's two main policies for open. Well, I say two main policies. That's an oversimplification, but there's a copyleft idea and a not copyleft idea, and the idea of copyleft is to provide protection from your software being like your open source generosity being abused, so that anyone that takes it, uses it, also has to comply with that license, so the license copies itself over. Whereas then you've got things like the BSD and the MIT license and that, which are a little bit more flexible, that allow you to use open source software but also combine it with proprietary software where you have intellectual property that you can't easily release and that kind of thing.
Or that
so
don't even want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on a very good point there. Because the Spring engine is GPL, also the Lua code that if you use the Spring engine, you tend to write your game in Lua on top of the Spring engine, and that is also GPL as well through the copyleft nature of the Spring engine. And I think that one of the the things are is that the Spring engine, because of its being GPL, isn't going to be picked up by commercial entities perhaps so readily, because of the fact that they would have to make their source code of their game available to anyone that receives that product. So there's potential market we've missed out on from the basis of, a company picks it up, there'd be advertising that this is based on the Spring engine, and their feedback if there's bugs, or they may even contribute code back. That would have been really nice, but maybe I'm just maybe no one would if we did put it on the BSD engine or BSD license. It would. Maybe I'm just
no. I mean, like, there's not necessarily anything idealistic there. I think that the clients and everything aren't necessarily looking, and that you can have that openness. There are people who do have their game up on Steam or whatever, and then their source code is available on GitHub, and that's just how it works.
The big benefit is that because it's open source, people can just see the source. They can start dabbling, and there's if you go onto the Spring engine, you'll see just how many people have forked the Spring engine just for experimentation, and that becomes an avenue by which people get involved in the project. Like Tyvian, I wanted to contribute back to the community that given me so much, the open source community, in a way that was fun, and seeing Bar in it, looking so professional and as amazing as it is, and also being open source, so there wasn't the intimidation of, if I want to get involved, I'd have to be interviewed to get into the behind the scenes to be able to see the source code. I could see it, I could play around with it and decide if I'm feeling comfortable enough to start contributing. And the team was so welcoming and so encouraging. I just, I only just, was on the edges to begin with, just starting to look, and then you just get sucked in, and then before you know it, you're eagerly developing with them, and that's just one of the fantastic things you can get with open source software.
Another question that's I don't know, maybe a bit related, but are you guys do you guys feel strongly about this, or would you say that you're that you have a horse in the race of open source? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
My day job involves using open source components. I'm running Linux. I'm developing for an open source game. As far as I'm concerned, open source is a huge benefit to society as a whole, and I'm a massive advocate for it myself. Obviously, I can't speak for the others.
I'm a Linux user, so I can empathize, and I've used a lot, different open source. I've contributed to open source projects. I'm not, as engaged or involved as you guys are, not by a country mile, but still, I'm familiar, and my experience from the professional world that I was in before doing game development is that companies are very, very happy about open source. But make sure it has the MIT license, this way we can take it, and then just keep everything closed source. And it's just it was a little bit infuriating, because it was a constant thing that they wanted to reduce the bill as much as possible, but not give anything back.
Yeah, that's always the risk. And that's it's one of those underlying principles of why GPL is copyleft, to stop that kind of behavior. But then you lose out on companies that would otherwise have contributed back. So pros and cons, isn't it? It's what's important to you when you choose a license. And my God, there are a lot of licenses out there.
Does everybody feel satisfied that we've kind of answered the question of what led you to Bar?
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right. Tell me how the Bar project functions, how the team works.
The team generally works is we have a lot of people working on a lot of things, so everyone gets pretty much to work on what they enjoy working on the most, because there's just so many things to do. And the best part about this is that most of our updates, in fact, I would say a good 80% of our updates go live in 15 minutes or 10-15 minutes. So you make a code change and immediately you're able to get feedback on whether you were successfully able to fix something or whether there was maybe some hiccup, and you can immediately see, you get instant feedback whether that fix worked. And the best part about this is that if you happen to make a mistake, your mind is still in the state where you still have the full stack of what you were working on. And so they just tell you what the error message was, and you can pretty quickly figure out if you did something wrong or you didn't think of an edge case that could come up. And this helps immensely in development. This is an absolutely huge boost to get immediate feedback of, wow, okay, I did this and it looks good and it works and it's awesome. That's a huge bonus. That really helps things. And on a day-to-day, I think Discord is one of the greatest things that has happened to us, because it's very easy to communicate. We have, I think, a good 50 different channels that are all related to the different components. They're all dedicated to that, and the discussions completely organically flow inside of them. Everyone's allowed to talk in all of the channels about whatever comes to mind of what they want to do or what they're planning on doing, and we get a lot of user feedback this way as well. So they're also, everyone pitches in with their ideas and their thoughts on any given topic. And that really helps in getting things done in a good way, and also in keeping track of things. I was very pleasantly surprised on how good Discord works for this kind of project.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps along the whole, I would say, democratic process that engulfs the whole bar. Is that how you describe it?
I would rather use the word meritocracy in this case. So
That's fair enough.
It's much better to formulate it in a way that stuff that is, whatever you do is what gets done. Literally, if you think of something, you make it, and it's at least just a little bit better than whatever we had previously, or something completely new, then yes, it's in. It's surely in. And that's a really good direction to go into, because that means there's pretty much no barrier to entry, because we have areas that need a lot of polish.
Yeah.
What I also love about these situations is that somebody does something, and it very often sparks passion or whatever in other team members picking it up, teaming up, helping, assisting, and that way some maybe pretty big problem can be solved within a week, which
it's a driver, it's a motivator.
Yeah, it's what makes the engine really roar, and that's always nice to see people fight each other and whatever.
We're talking in game, right? Fight each other.
Well, one of the loveliest examples of what Isaac's brought up is when Isaac started to remake one of our old maps that had lava on it. And it looked absolutely horrible. Well, it was written 10 years ago. It actually was written by me, but it looked like absolute garbage. And Isaac said, well, hey, I'm trying to work on this. And I picked it up, tried to apply some of the new stuff that I've recently learned. And then it was this complete ping pong back and forth for almost a week where he said, okay, could we have a little bit more distortion here, some shimmer here? And it eventually evolved into something that is really, really good looking. It's up to a very high standard, and it works extremely well. And a lot of other devs helped on that to make it into like a whole game mechanic of having rising tides of lava periodically. And it just flowed very organically, and we were able to test it online immediately with multiple players. So that was an amazing experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, the really lovely thing about Discord is that I remember 10 years ago when we started Bar, we had like an IRC channel. There were just a few devs there. We had the forums where all kinds of unrelated devs also chipped in sometimes, but it was never connected. You didn't feel the flow, basically, of things happening where it's happening. And people can just post pictures, videos on Discord. We even use Discord to have bug reports for the players. So we also have GitHub for bug reports. But
but it makes more sense, like for casual people that everybody uses Discord. Not everybody knows how to use GitHub. So actually, that's a really, really good point. That's amazing. Yeah.
One of the things that hasn't been touched on by the others is that while we've got the founding members, I mean, 3 of the founders are here at the moment, there is no one is the boss of someone else. So, for example, I'm doing server stuff, and if, let's say, Beherith says, "Oh, Typhon, I want you to implement this," I've not got some obligation to. I mean, generally I will, because, you know, we'll discuss it and stuff, but there's no sort of top-down, you have to do this. If someone comes and joins and wants to contribute, they choose what they contribute on. Obviously, there will be certain limitations, but there's no one going to be saying, "Oh, you have to do this before you're allowed to do the fun stuff." I think it's really worth bearing that in mind, whereas if you were joining, say, a commercial enterprise, you might have a much more structured way of looking at things, assigned tasks and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Has confused a few people that thought they'd be helpful and say, well, you need to get this roadmap and this plan in, and who's going to do what, and we're trying to explain, no, it's not how the team can work here, because people do what they're interested in, and when they've got time. So you can't treat it like a normal project management project.
We don't do that around here.
We can't. You know, we're not being paid for the privilege of work, you know, doing this. Well, not in money. We're being paid in the pride and the joy of seeing people enjoy the product, and you know, it helps keeps us going. All that, the feedback and the responses.
Yes, it is. I love the fuel of almost the daily message of someone writing. Man, I just discovered this. How is this possible? I was a TA fan for years or whatever, and it's almost on a daily basis. So that kind of explains how many people there still are out there.
Well,
we need to reach.
And
you.
No, but this is like nothing surprising. I think that, you know, it's not like a taste for a genre just dies overnight or stuff like that, or the, you know, new generations that come along. There's not going to be people that don't develop a taste for that, right? So, you know, they're obviously they're out there, and of course there's all the people who experienced Total Annihilation back when it released, and it was a lot, right? It was probably 1.5 million, right? So you know, they're still out there. And yeah, they're still, you know, hoping to scratch that itch, right? So of course.
Fun fact: I never played Total Annihilation.
What? Why am I only hearing this now?
The secrets come out.
I didn't either.
Well, we got a copy of Total Annihilation there, so I just quickly and send it to Loris.
Actually, I did. Yeah. Actually, I did like, you know, there's the website for OpenRA and everything. So I did try that, right? And also I did try but you know, it was just a little bit. So that's, you know, I don't get to say I actually played, you know, Total Annihilation, but you know. Anyways, yeah, I still, you know like everything about the game despite never having played it, right? It's like I've seen so many videos and interacted with so many people who played it and everything. It's just, it's a cultural behemoth. It's huge. So, yeah.
It's a very defining experience, but at the same time, going back to it is just no longer possible with the quality of life improvements we have, for example, at Moron. You just can't go back.
Yeah. It's a little bit too pixelated.
Well,
it's not even the graphics. It's the interface, I think, that aged the worst.
Yeah,
and the pathfinding and the AI, and really, it was a technical marvel for its time. But well, we're 26 years past that.
Yeah, 26 years, man.
It's 99, right?
Yeah.
98. 98 was TA, not 96, because 96 was StarCraft.
Yeah. No, but it is 26 years. It's
What's the date on your box, Ice?
Yeah, I'm checking.
I'll see if I can find it on here. It might not be though.
97.
1997. So
25-year anniversary. Perfect timing for us then.
What was the minimum specs for it? It was something like a Pentium 133.
80, I think.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
design. You wouldn't be able to run any
Medium
modern RTS off
100
that.
or higher. 60
Apparently-
meg of RAM or 32.
Apparently
For
released
large
September the
maps.
26th, 1997.
SVGA. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to squeeze bar into that little memory. That processor.
Oh man, you just lost all your fan base.
Yeah, we
No.
do support pretty old processors. As long as it's 64-bit compatible and x 64 based, then there's a good chance it will run. And that goes back 10, 12, processors going back 10, 12, probably even longer than that. Yeah, actually longer than that. So, because
We've got a few
Core 2
players who
Duo
run
was
on
the
quite-
first.
We've got a few players who run on quite old laptops and quite low spec ones as well.
So yeah, are you guys looking for more people for the team? Are you guys looking to grow the family, so to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say,
always.
countdown 3, 2, 1, all shout yes at the same time.
The sequential was also nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's great to hear. So yeah, maybe you guys can tell me how that's done, how they get in contact. What do you do?
Well, since
Discord,
we're open source, it's not very difficult to get in contact with us, and you just join up on Discord, and we're all here, and we're gladly here to assist you in any questions you might have, and if you find any topic that's interesting for you, then give it a shot. That's the only thing. It's just
All right.
There's a
just
ludicrous
try doing
amount of
anything, and
channels
you'll
in
probably succeed.
Alright.
It's really easy. So for the server, for example, so Elixir is a less commonly used language. The majority of people going into game development would not be familiar with it. And we had someone come along and was like, oh, I know a little bit. I would love to have this feature added to the server. So all he did was he asked about it on one part of the Discord. He was pointed in my direction. And just, in the public part of the Discord, he was pinged back and forth a little bit, discussed how he could go about it. He then submitted a PR via GitHub, a bit more back and forth. He submitted it, and we implemented it, and the feature that he wanted is in place. It was actually that Spotify joke where, not the Spotify joke, the Reddit joke where someone joins the company, submits a PR and leaves. He became involved because he wanted to see one thing tweaked. There was like a slight bug with something. It worked 99% of the time, but he was not happy with that 1%. He joined in, but it was the journey was really simple and very easy. He just posted saying, "Oh, I can do X. I want to get involved in this area here. How do I go about it?"
Yeah,
And
he's got a strong "if you want to get it done, do it yourself" attitude.
Yeah, you
a
don't
little
have
bit,
to have that. You don't have to have that. You can have I've got these skills here and I want to develop them. Where can I apply? It could be a case of, I've got some rough skills. I want to help in this area. What can I learn?
Yeah, completely flexible. The thing is, Typhon's touched on there is that there's no commitment needed whatsoever. There's no, you have to put 4 or 5 hours a week into this or whatever. It is whatever time you've got, whatever you're comfortable with, offer it. Or, if, things happen and you can't contribute anymore, that's that really.
Except for mapping.
It's crucial. All right. Well, I'll have the links to the Discord and everything in the description. But yeah, I wanted to know if there's anything in particular you guys wanted to get off your chest, anything you guys wanted to say to the world so that you want to express.
Just join us and try our game.
Yeah. Join us,
You'll
try it,
love
and
it.
give us feedback.
Join us.
Yeah.
Give us feedback is a really big part of it because the game is not perfect, and I've been playing it for a little over a year now, and it has changed significantly at time. There's a lot of improvements been added, both on the technical side, like for example what Tarnished Knight has done, but then you've also got things like the mapping. You've got we've got a contributor called Damgum who has been adding in some PvE modes, scavengers, raptors. It's not all PvP and tawny type stuff. It's come a long way, and that is in large because of feedback. One of the biggest things that we didn't touch on with open source is you don't have to be a programmer to contribute. If you provide either testing or thought out ideas and discussion on the matter, you are contributing at that stage. And a large number of people do contribute that way.
That is a good point. We've got people that are focused solely on marketing the game. They don't need to bring technical skills
Yeah.
to help and join in. That's one of the beauties of the bar team. That
Yeah, we've had an amazing tester join us a couple of months back who who submitted a good 100 bug reports of things that we kind of knew were already there. We just didn't take the time to actually
Document
hunt them
them.
down and give good reproduction examples of it, of how to reproduce this exact bug. And that's been extremely useful going through all of those.
And the scariest thing is, he's not even a professional tester. He should
No.
be.
He should be,
really
yeah,
should
he's-
be, yeah.
and he could probably then point to his contributions in the project and say, I've worked on this as a tester, and you can see my test reports, and
Yeah.
that's evidence and stuff you could give for a potential job interview.
Yeah, well, that's been my experience. I mean, you come up to job interviews, and they're always interested to hear what you've done in the open source world. So, absolutely.
I literally used what I write the bar for my current job interview.
Hmm.
And it worked really well.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
They're a shining example.
All right. Are you guys satisfied with this? Do you guys want to add to it? No.
Well, I'm perfectly fine. I think it
All
was
right.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I totally
then,
agree.
Well, then we'll leave it at that. And thank you very much to the bar team. And see you guys around.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you.
If you want to do
And
other
thank
stuff
you.
in the future, do let us know.